So I would like to start my presentation now. My presentation is about the analysis of bottom-up model of conversation dialogues. I have chosen this topic because I think most of the updated researches on the analysis of conversation has taken uh, more on the overlapping features and how sometimes speech cannot go smoothly, and they never tackled in details the structural and the lexical features of these conversational dialogues. So this analysis is based on analysis of smaller units and larger units of dialogues or of conversations. So when we talk about the bottom, we are going to talk about the sentences, and when we talk about the up, then we go for larger units, including sequences, and then we go up later to reach the terms. So the bottom up is based on the analysis of the types of sentences, sequences, and terms that can be found in a dialogue or conversation. Now, what sets this paper apart from other papers is that it focuses on the structural and the lexical features of a special type of conversations, which is situated in a holy text. Now, this text takes into consideration a true story, because it is the life of the Prophet Joseph. So it is a true story that is manifested in the Holy Quran through stages of his life, mainly manifested in form of dialogues, or what I call it prefer to call it in the paper, situational dialogue. Now, these situational dialogues have two basic features: the structural features and the lexical features. The structural features focus mainly on the exchange sequence and the turn sequence. So it focuses mainly on the format or the structural part of these situational dialogues. The second set of feature is the lexical feature. Now, this one puts more emphasis on the semantic aspect, on the meaning. What are the main goals and and intentions of the speakers when they start their roles in these situational dialogues. And it also focuses on the way these speakers or these participants tend to open their conversations and close their conversation. So we will have what we call adjacency pair and preference systems that show what the intentions of the speakers are. And the second is the opening and the closing that shows how the speakers tend to open and close their own conversations. So next I will talk about the structural features in these situations.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? Are you able to hear us and continue?
Dialogues. Now, the first thing within these structural features is the exchange system. The exchange system is highly connected with the idea of turn-taking among the participants. So when the first person starts his speech, he usually forms the initiation. This initiation is usually taken up by another speaker or the second participant in the form of a response. Now, the first speaker has the right to take the turn again and takes the floor and produces what we call it the re-initiation. Now, this form of initiation, response, and re-initiation form what we call the exchange system. After the analysis of the data, we found that the exchange system in the data has mainly or falls mainly under two types. The first type is the closed form, and the second type is the open form. Now, the closed form it usually appears whenever the two participants taking the turn. So when A starts the initiation, B takes the response, and then A once again takes the re-initiation. This is a kind of a close because it is a close among the participants themselves, A and B only. there is no one to interfere. Now, sometimes you have a situation in which we have A, B, and sometimes C, who tries to take his role within the exchange system. This is we call the open form, in which we have not only A, B, but rather we have A, B, C. So the first participant, A, will initiate, he will form the initiation, then the other will respond. Then it is not A who is going to continue on the conversation, but it is rather C, another participant. So I will just give you one, because of I have limited time. I will show you only the one type, which is the closed form of exchange. This is an example of A-B closed form, in which the conversation has started by the conversation or the exchange is between the father, Joseph's father, and the prophet himself, Joseph. So Joseph starts saying to his father that he has a dream, and in this dream he saw 11 stars and the sun and the moon, and he starts to explain his dream or his vision to his father. Now this is A, the initiation. Now B, his father takes up the floor and he forms the response to this initiation, when he said, when his father warned him not to tell his vision to his brothers. This is a kind of a simple form of A-B closed form in the data. Now, part of the structural feature is what we call the turn-taking sequences. Now, the turn-taking sequence is based on the many other papers, is a crucial element in developing or in analyzing any conversations or dialogue. Now, this paper, based on Sachs and other scholars who are working within the field of sociolinguistics, who try to just like pave the way to the main theories in conversation analysis. Now, based on their opinion, we can find that at turn construction, for example, they can vary from simple sentences to more complex terms. Now, in the data under analysis, the turn constructions are mainly of two types. Either we can find, for example, very simple sentences. This is a speech taken from one of the participants when she said, "Come you." This is just like imperative, simple imperative sentences. This stands in contrast with B, when in which we can find more complex or compound sentences, when the brothers said, "Joseph and his brother are more beloved to our father than we, while we are a clan." This is when with the use of the conjunction. This is a stands or represents a more complex type of turn construction. So turn constructions can be simple or can be complex, but most of them tend to be complex and compound sentences, and we can find only one or two instances of simple sentences. Now this point shows how the turn are constructed within the turn-taking system. The more important aspect that we need to talk about when we talk about turn-taking is what we call the turn-allocation. Now, turn-allocation is related to the way usually speech is transformed between the participants. Within the data under analysis, it seems that either the person himself, he can select himself, and then he starts the speech and takes the floor. And sometimes it does not come by self-selection. It comes when other people in the situational dialogue can select one person to start his conversation, especially when by the use of vocative element. So if it is a self-selection, it means I will select myself, or somebody will select himself to start the speech. This is example number one, self-selection. And there came a company of travelers in. They sent their water drawer and he let down his bucket. He said, "Good news, here is a boy." Then this is an extract taken after the Joseph's brothers, they throw him to the well. So a group of travelers, they cross by the well, and one of them takes the turn, and he selects himself because he wanted to transfer the news of a good news of having a boy. So he was not being selected. He initiates the talk, and in this case, it comes under self-selection. Now, in other situations, it is not that the person himself selects himself, but rather he is selected by other people. So this is an example by the king who selects Joseph to take the turn. So the king said, "Bring him to me." But when the messenger came to him, to Joseph, Joseph said, "Return to your master and ask him what is the case of the women." Now, this is a clear example of how other allocation or other selection is usually dominated in the data. So, the first time, the king selects Joseph to take the turn, but later Joseph take the king by another question, ask him what is the case of the women. So these are two techniques that are used in the dialogues to to exchange the terms within the structural features. Now now these terms, generally speaking, these terms are either tend to be continuous terms or discontinuous terms. Usually, the data is characterized by explanation. This explanation either comes at the beginning, then the terms go on smoothly. Then in this case, we will have what we call it continuous term. Sometimes, no, the speaker starts, first speaker A, then instead of having the response from B, we rather have a kind of explanation that sheds light on the main event that is following or that is preceding this situation. And this, when the explanation appears between speaker B, speaker A, and speaker B, then in this case we will have what we call it the discontinuous term. The term is discontinued because of the explanation that intervenes in the middle of the terms. Now, this is for as far as the structural features is concerned. Now, I would like to move now to the last thing, which is the rules. These rules are proposed by Sachs et al. In 1979, and he set a group of rules that are usually followed in the conversation. Now, all these rules are available except with the one, which is turn order is fixed. This is not always the case here. Sometimes we can have a fixed turns, and sometimes we can have a randomly arranged turns based on the explanation, based on the choice of the speakers, based on many factors. As for the second set of features, which is the lexical features, we need to talk about two things. We need to talk about the participants' intentions that is really manifested in the adjacency pair types. And also we need to talk about the type of the opening and the closing system. Now, with an adjacency pair, we can talk about a mono-adjacency pair when the speaker uses only one type, like question answer only, or accept request acceptance. So, for example, in the example we have, "Oh, our Father, ask for us forgiveness of our sins." This is a request from the Joseph's brothers to his father, and the father accepts, and this is we call the preferred sequence. "I will ask for forgiveness." Sometimes we have more than one, like in this example, "Why don't you, oh our Father, why don't you entrust us with Joseph?" This is a question. "Then send him with us tomorrow." This is a request. So in this we have question and answer and request acceptance, and this can be followed by a preferred or dispreferred term. So the adjacency pair is the best way to manifest the speaker's goals, intentions during this speech. That's why it is part of the lexical features of conversation. The last thing is the opening and the closing sequence within the lexical features. And within the opening, we have to distinguish between the pre-opening and the opening and the post-opening. In the Holy Quran, the pre-opening is usually characterized by the mysterious letters like Alif, Lam, Mim. These are letters in the Arabic alphabet, but these are mysterious because no one can discover what these letters mean. That's why we call them mysterious letters. This pre-opening is usually followed by explanation, and then we start by the turns of the speakers in the opening sequences, and then when the other speaker participant, next speaker takes the turn, when we ensure there is a conversation or a dialogue, then we call it the post-opening. With the closing sequence, on the other hand, usually the closing sequence are manifested either by words that refer to characteristics or names of God. For example, indeed my God is forgiving and merciful. These are one of the names or characteristics of God. Or they are ended usually by praying, like, for example, the creator of heavens and earth, you are my protector in this world and in this hereafter. Cause me to die a Muslim and join me with the righteous. This is an example of a praying that is coming from Joseph to his God. So these are the two ways of closing the sequences in a conversation. Now, the main goal behind this analysis is to try to just like pave the way about the types of terms, types of sequences, types of that usually are used by participants in a situational dialogue, which is different from everyday dialogue that is full of overlapping interruptions. Now, this dialogue is highly constructed in terms of terms, in terms of organization, and that's what makes it different from everyday or other types of conversations.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing, Rana. We have scheduled one more presentation, but I think this presenter, Kais Kadem, is experiencing some technical difficulties, so I'm not sure that we'll have this last one. We had a few participants in here for part of the presentation, and then there were some events out in the hallway, so they ran away to see if they're coming back here. I don't think anyone has any questions at this point in time. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, so once again, thank you very much. We will be sure to post recordings of this on the website. And I want to remind you that we have the Facebook page live stream of several of the large sessions that happen in the conference hall here, and you can look forward to learning and sharing and those sorts of things that are part of this conference through the conference proceedings that will be published in probably 3 or 4 weeks from now. Do you have any questions for me before we go, Rana? Okay. Okay, thank you very much for putting up with the technology and finally getting to present. We really enjoyed it on this end, so thank you again.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.